Guys, welcome back. It's been a few weeks since I've put a vlog out. That's because I've been traveling, I've been sick. There's been lots happening, but I've missed it, and so I'm back. And this week, I'm going to show you the Diverge STR, the bike that I rode for TRAKA here in Girona, 360 kilometers on gravel, 5,000 meters of vert. It's a difficult course, but I reckon I had the best bike for the race. I didn't win. I did top 10. I was surprised by that because I don't really ride gravel. Anyway, a couple of weeks before TRAKA, I got sent this Diverge STR, and to begin with, I was a little skeptical, didn't know what to think about it. I rode it a few times and I fell in love. This week, I'm going to show you the exact setup that I use for TRAKA and the changes that I'm going to make for Unbound and why. So come with me as we explore my new Diverge STR. Alrighty guys, so this is the bike. This is the Specialized Diverge STR that I used for TRAKA this year. It is size 56. It is a bike that when it arrived, I wasn't really sure whether or not I needed it. I do have one of the older generation Diverges with the front future shock, but it doesn't have the rear shock. And to be honest, I was happy with that bike. I don't do a lot of gravel, but this year I've been doing a little bit more. And so when this bike arrived, I thought to myself, do I really need this? I went for the first ride, I was a little unsure. I left the shock turned on, so I did have a little bit of bouncing in it. At the end of that ride, I came home realizing that this is actually amazing technology, be that on the gravel or on the road. And what I found is that I actually leave the shock turned on all of the time. So there is a lot of movement there, and you can turn that off. So by flicking the switch over, on is on the left position, off, you get rid of all of the flex, right? But when you turn it on, there's a lot of flex there. There are different types of posts that Specialized offer. So this insert here basically comes out and you can put different posts in there that allow you to have more or less flex. It's amazing engineering. It really is amazing engineering. At the moment, I've got the FP4, which is sort of one of the middle range posts. And I've currently got about 45 mil of travel. It does go up to more. You can put one in there that does have less. But anyway, back to the bike itself and the setup that I use for TRAKA. I am going to point this out too. On the bike at the moment, I have Pathfinder tyres. I didn't use these tyres for TRAKA. I am trialling them for Unbound. I used the Tracer tyres for TRAKA, and I use them in a 47mm width because I'm a big believer in the bigger the tyre, the more comfortable it is, the more grip you have, the more traction you have. And for a newbie like me that doesn't do a lot of gravel, I really found that having the bigger tyre inspires me or gives me more confidence. So that's one disclaimer. I didn't use these tyres, I used the Tracer 47mm. I'm running the Terra wheels, the Reval Terra wheels. Didn't have one puncher all day, amazing wheels. I've got full SRAM rival group set on here. The only thing that isn't rival is the crank, which is the info crank. I'm running 165mm crank. I've recently switched to a shorter crank just to open up my hips a little bit because I run my position is quite set back on the bike. XT pedals, pretty standard. If we look up to the handlebars here, I'm running 40 centimeter, basically typical road handlebars. There's no flare to them. You'll see, similar to my road setup, I run them angled in slightly because I find I'm a little bit more comfortable. I've got the Wahoo computer up front. I did mount a light underneath just because it was dark at the beginning of the event. Well, I've got a frame bag on there. I ordered this frame bag. I was looking for one that was neat, compact and lightweight, and I came across the Cyclist bag. While we are on the topic of the frame bag, I'm going to show you what I've got inside. So despite a whole heap of good gels, I actually took a jar of Vegemite with me because I know my mate Jesse Yates enjoys Vegemite. So when we were climbing up Cap de Creos, I cracked this open and gave him a spoonful of that, and he was flying afterwards. So tip for young players, Vegemite in the bar bag is a winner. Alright, moving on, chainring sizes. So I ran a 42 chainring on the front. I actually could have done with a bigger chainring, 42 or a 44. On the back I ran 1050 cassette. Again, if I ran the 42 or the 44, I would have wanted the 1052 because there were some steep sections. The beautiful thing you'll see with this bike, it's very clean. I don't have a saddlebag on here, and that's because I was carrying a lot of the spares in my camelback and in this little secret stowaway area in the frame. Basically, I take one of the beddings off. I've got 2 tyres stored in there, and I've still got room for more. So it just keeps the weight low, and it keeps the centre of gravity low on the bike, which is good for the handling. I think that's about it. I've got BBB rear light on here because it's reliable, and we needed a rear light. It was dark at the beginning, like I mentioned. What would I change? So as far as changes for next year, I would spend more time on gravel. Like, I didn't do any time on gravel beforehand. I did 1 week, and then I raced like the longest gravel race in Europe. So I was pretty stoked with a top 10 there. I'd do more time on gravel. I would keep the same tyres. I'd use the Tracer 47mm tyres. Same saddle. I love this saddle, the Roman Mirror 155s. So I wouldn't change anything for TRAKA, but what I would change for Unbound. So Unbound is coming up. It's a slightly longer race, and I'm playing with aero bars for that. I'm looking at whether or not I'm comfortable in an aero position. So that's something I'm playing with. But aside from that, I wouldn't change anything. This bike is amazing. I would recommend it. It's not the cheapest bike out there, but it is by far the most comfortable gravel bike on the market, and it handles like an absolute dream. To get a Gumby like me around a 360km high-paced gravel race in a top 10 position, with speed volumes about the bike. Yeah, and the Rival I'm super happy with. I don't need force, I don't need red. Rival performs perfectly. There's no downsides to it aside from a little bit of a weight penalty, but I'm going to be advised, it doesn't matter. So there you go, there's the Diverge STR, my initial reviews post-TRAKA. I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope to see you out on the bike soon.